Nigeria's cold, oh bad to serve our fatherland, in love and strength and faith, oh yeah. The labor our heroes past shall never be in vain. To serve with heart and mind, one nation bound in freedom, peace and unity. Oh God of creation, direct our noble course. Lead us right, help our youth the truth to know. In love and honesty to grow and live in just and true. To build a nation where
All right. Okay, let's get down to it. This is not going to be too long, so we have to get to the crux of things. Let's see how it's a kind of experiment where we try to distill our thoughts and get them as as concisely there as possible, as quickly as possible. Because there's no reason why if Piers Morgan can host a show for 1 hour and all hell breaks loose for 1 hour and it gets millions of views. I don't see why. And I do learn a lot even with that 1 hour. So let's try to do better by this topic. So the topic is about what kind of education our people should be should expect. Where should you be educated? What direction should we be going? Because this topic was about the one we were having earlier on was about the Amajiri, how it was not, obviously sufficient for the needs of a population. And so the idea is, what direction should we be going? Because clearly, even in the South, I don't know whether we are doing so well, even if we seem to be doing slightly better than the North in some metrics. But in the South, we have issues. So I will try to keep that concise too. It's a very simple question. Bumi, so we'll go with the order of the appearance. So, Bumi, what do you make of it? Where should we be going in terms of education for our people? What should we prioritize, and what should we, um, uh, you know, set as lower priority? And if there are roadblocks, what would you recommend that we do to clear those roadblocks? So, direction we should go, and what should we do to surmount the challenges along the path?
Um, I wanted to say something before you ended the other
Ah, okay,
stream.
go ahead.
Um, I think I commented not long ago once in the comments that I feel like the South tends to look at the North the same way certain Western people or population look at the South in general. I think is very much condescending to those people. Like when you describe them, you're like, because I was listening to certain people talk about, oh, they're a bit smart. It's like you're talking about humans for. It's like, what do you mean they're a bit smart, or they can? Oh, I spoke to someone they were smart. That's how they describe black people. Like, oh, I met this black person was,
Yeah.
or they ask you, you speak good English. Like, bruh, it's literally a language. Anyone can learn it. I mean, obviously there's certain factors, but I think that's how we describe this the North is very much condescending, and I think the South tend yes we have a higher population of people with education, but I even think it's even way worse than even the North because they have a lower percentage, and you can see that in terms of certain standard of living and that. But for you to say you have a higher population and that's what you have to offer, it's actually even worse because you have the knowledge is right there in your hands, and the South is not all beautiful as we tend to make it seem. So I do think that one thing first, we need to acknowledge the fact that whether you're talking about the north, south, east, west, center, as a society, we are not doing good, period. We can't keep on like, oh, that place is not doing good, but I am better. We have to just agree as a society, it's not good because we are praising others, but also trying to downgrade the other people at the same time, which is not praising. If you want to praise, praise with your heart. Don't say I spoke to a northern person and they're smart. You're indirectly insulting their entire their entire like population. So in the south, I do think that
Is it an insult though if you say,
It is
based
an
on my
insult.
impression? No, no, I know how it comes across. Not everybody is guilty of insulting people. That because they don't necessarily see everybody as the same. Like maybe they grow up with the impression that these people are less. So if somebody says, "Oh, I grew up with the impression that you guys are less," but when I speak to these people, you are just as smart as everyone else. They are actually saying something
It,
positive,
forefathers,
but you are
it,
seeing that as
it,
an insult.
why I said
what Bumi is saying, not only an insult, it is high level of ignorance of the speaker. He will say such thing.
what makes it
Yeah.
worse is the fact that the South tend to say they have knowledge. If you have knowledge, you wouldn't be saying things like that. Because I wanted us even because it's even surprising that you put there's a sign on top that says um, philosophy. I do think we should study like philosophy itself or study the structure of our environment. When you study it, you understand why certain things happen the way they happen. I think someone did mention that the Marjorie and the when you look at the North, you if you can just sit down for a second, you know it's a tool that you're using. It's clear it's not just religious reasons, but they're using these people for a certain goal that they want to achieve. Those kids are used as tools. So if you say you have the knowledge, then you're not gonna come and start saying that okay, these people are like this and that because in there because kind of the same thing also goes on in the south. It's just in a different level. It's just being flipped to a different like extent.
I hear what you're saying, but we have to be careful because this is one of the issues that this what they call a woke culture started promoting, whereby if somebody's acknowledging a level of ignorance on their part and you still consider it an insult at the same time, it's double whammy. What do you want them to say? That they are not prejudiced? They are saying they are prejudiced. Now I've discovered that you people are actually smart. You see what I mean? Like a racist white person can say, "Oh, I didn't know. I thought the black people are not smart. Black people, I discovered that they are smart." That
But that's
person
not
at
what
that
the
moment
South
is
are
not
saying.
insulting.
That's not what the South are saying. The South, it's like when you say that statement, is to an extent you're not even classifying that they even have a brain or they are not even human. It's for me to look at it as an, if I look at an animal and I say, wow, this animal is actually smart. You can accept that because we have a certain viewpoint of animals. But if we all say we are humans, and I look you and say, forefathers, you know what, you're actually smart for a man. Do you think that's a compliment? Would you take that as a compliment if I say you're actually smart for a Nigerian man?
If you put it like that.
So what's the difference if I put it, oh, you're actually smart for a Northerner? What kind
Okay,
of compliment
I know what
is that?
that the way you put it is, yeah, I hear what you're saying, but what those people were saying, we was not in that way though. They were saying, there are smart people in the north, you know, and all that stuff. I get where you're coming from. It can come across as condescending.
It is condescending.
It's not coming across. It's condescending. Call it what it is. Father, why don't you get it?
No. There's a difference. The reason why I'm saying this, oh my God, I hope we don't dwell on this point. There's a slight difference there.
No,
because some people can be genuinely ignorant of something, and when they own up to it, you shouldn't condemn them for it.
No. You can acknowledge it, but it's still bad. Bad is bad. I'm not saying they shouldn't say people are smart, but you're still wrong for saying it. Doesn't make it right. It's still wrong.
Okay. That is it. I just feel like there's a nuance and the context matters a lot.
No,
like the way she put it, like you are smart for a man. So in other words, she has what will make that more offensive because she's encountered so many men and she literally thinks that they are not smart, and that makes it come across as if it's offensive for me.
Are the Northerners humans? Yes or no?
Oh, clearly they are humans.
Do we believe they have a brain? Yes or no?
We do. They definitely
so
do.
If you believe those things are true, why would you then say you're actually smart? I've met some people and they can actually do arithmetics.
Yeah. I get where you're coming from. But people are ignorant, you see. And when they own up to their ignorance, I just feel like we should give them a slightly more grace than people that are just bubbling down.
No, forefather is not getting it anymore.
You make a statement saying that, oh, we tend to worship, the colonizers. This is the same thing.
I agree with you.
This is literally the same thing. Like, okay, if they come and say, okay, black people are actually smart, they are not as useless as we thought they were, would you take them as a compliment? But they're acknowledging that you're smart though. It's an improvement to what they thought before. How many years ago?
That is an interesting, that could make for a whole new debate. You know what? I'm just sympathetic to the people that are acknowledging that they were ignorant. That person may not be acknowledging that they were ignorant. They may just be making it as a flippant statement and still go on to be very biased against black people. Or they might even isolate only you as the smart person among, when they say you are one of the good ones. That is bad. You see what I mean?
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's the same thing we're still discussing.
Yo, forefather, we're approaching 25% of 1 hour. We haven't even talked about the main topic. We still
see how we are now. See how we are. We are used to discussing long topics. God will punish us today. He's going to end in 1 hour. We like it or not.
I wanted to see how forefather will do the magic.
Yeah, it's already.
It's going to happen. I could stop it and start a new one on a totally different topic because I think that topic about let's not talk about that topic now. Towards the end, we'll talk about it. That one is going to be heavy.
I don't think this is going out of the conversation because if we are talking about the educational system in Nigeria, it's the same thing. You don't talk about education the way and not acknowledge the way we see each other as people. It's part of your knowledge. It's
Mm.
part of our perspective of things. So if we're talking about, okay, we need to elevate the way our education is being perceived from one place to another, then we need to talk about how we perceive each other. Are we even
Yeah.
humans? Do we value each other? We talk about our society, or how do we fix the North? How do we fix the South? Who are the South? Who are the Northerners? Those are the things that you kind of, you have to have like a foundation of things, and
Yeah.
then slowly you move forward to it, because it's all the same in the educational perspective.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's go to AY. So in terms of the oh no, you have not answered the question though. You still haven't answered the question. Try to, since you've used it to talk about the remainder of the other topic. So try to distill it down, 2 minutes or so with the main one. What kind of education should we be getting? And if we are to do those things, if there are roadblocks in the way, what do you think we should do to clear those roadblocks?
Um, First thing first, I will give my example of education system that we should have, based on the fact that, given the fact that we have a reasonable government that actually wants to achieve those things. Because me just saying this is believing that we have a government that believes in this, which is not true. So based on education, education needs to be compulsory for every single person, not east south. And we all need to agree to what level of education.
Mm,
Definitely, I think is should be to either junior secondary or to senior secondary. So either junior WAEC or senior WAEC. That's all
mm,
comes to debate. And then I think you guys called it vocational training. I think vocational training is something that we should put more effort into.
mm,
There's no problem into going to university. There are certain professions that need university, but then there are certain that don't need university. So I think we should kind of break that down. But each and every citizen should have or should follow one of those parts, and it should be compulsory. Over here, in the country I'm in, um, I think if you're a child and your parents don't want you to go to school, or they want to home train you, they have to give reasons why they don't want to send you to school, or like they have to kind of prove to the government why. So you cannot just not like take your child out of the school
mm.
system and that. So I think those are things that we should make compulsory to our society, and either vocation or university should be compulsory.
Okay, thank you. AY, same question. What do you expect from our educational system, and if it's supposed to be enforced nationally, if there are roadblocks, what would you recommend to clear the roadblocks?
Yeah, again, but you've accepted the first submission of Bumi, right?
I surrender. I just surrender.
Okay, I don't want to go back there because I just want to re-echo it. I can't agree more what Bumi said. That is the best way to say it, because sometimes people just display some high level of ignorance. I know it can be just they are it's not that they're doing it to put down any tribe. I understand that too. It's just like you speak to some Americans, for example, white people. They don't even believe there is a million dollar house in Nigeria, for example, in Africa. By the time you open up online a link and start showing them houses in Lekki, in Ikoyi, in Victoria Island, is this Africa? Like, are you crazy? Like, houses in Nigeria. I was just telling my friend recently, he's from Ethiopia. I said, yo, houses in Nigeria, most of them, they are more beautiful, more expensive. There are a lot of houses in America. By the time I open up some houses in Lekki, like fully automated houses, he was shouting, is it in Nigeria? I said, yeah, it's Nigeria. So we need to try. One other problem I see on this platform, right? Because a lot of people, they only understand their state or their environment. They don't understand any other. They've not been to places in Nigeria. They don't understand the different culture. The only thing know of their culture, think their culture is there is nothing is Dorando. No, it's ignorance. I don't take it as excuse. Every tribe have superior people. When you come, for example, there is no tribe like my tribe. We are the most sophisticated people on earth. That is high level of ignorance. Because even if I'm a billionaire, I'm not richer than the whole of Hausa. I'm not richer than the whole of Yoruba. I'm not richer than the whole of Igbo. I'm not richer than, even if I'm tall, I'm not taller than the whole of Yoruba. I'm not taller than the whole of Igbo. So you can't generalize. It doesn't make sense when people are speaking in the damn way. I'm not looking at you like, what are you talking about? If I'm knowledgeable, if I'm a professor, I'm not more knowledgeable than a lot of people from other tribes. So it doesn't, that argument, I don't usually buy it at all. That aside, right? Father, thank you. It's good you've accepted the truth.
No,
The issue
I know when I'm beating.
We approaching half of 1 hour already. It's only 20 minutes.
Okay, can we try to keep it?
Let's make it short, please.
Let me keep it short. Let me keep it short. The issues in Nigeria, specifically the educational problem, again, we need to be deliberate about it. What I mean deliberate, if you go back to people that graduated from Nigerian University, any of them, 20 years ago, when you go back to that department, some of the professors are still teaching with those pieces of paper. They don't upgrade. In Nigerian University, you go Department of Electrical Engineering, they are still teaching black and white television. If you study in abroad, the courses you took 5 years ago, the department you finished from 5 years ago, if you go back there now, you will see 5% of the courses have been dropped or modified to suit the current system. They just, this course is no longer useful. First of all, you need to clean up the system. Even the professors, they need to educate themselves. You will not understand the high level of ignorance among these professors. Because we need to move from certificate system and move to a skill system where people actually get the skills to get job done. Nigeria, we are very, very focused on, I'm a PhD holder. Somebody is a PhD holder, he knows nothing. Because anyhow, mago, worship the professor, they carry PhD, give you. Guru, you finished bachelor's, you did master, so it's a lot. That is first. The other phase Bumi was talking about,
try to be
vocational.
We have
one more
time here.
The vocational studies, right? All the state, in fact, local government at this point, we're supposed to have technical college where people can have skills, make it a trade system. If you want to do electrician, you go there, learn electrician. It could be 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. Along, they are doing like something like co-op, right? Like industrial training, whatever you will call it. Let them be getting experience along with it. If you want to do carpentry, same thing. Today, we're going to Turkey to buy furniture, where we have smart people in Nigeria that can learn this year, be doing it. Mechanic, we're going to bring bricklayers from African countries, where we have Nigeria that you can teach more and learn this trade and be able to perform it. Like you have foreman. Everybody don't have to be a university graduate. So if you want to do it, it has to be holistic, it has to be massive in all the states, if it's local government, first phase, state, second phase, local government. In all the states, you can have 3 senatorial districts, have a strong technical college in each of the senatorial districts. Let that be the first phase. The second phase is going to be local government in every local government in Nigeria. Create a technical school where people learn all these skills. Our polytechnics are there. You need to focus.
You have to keep it concise.
Let me just stop because I will not have enough time.
I think the thing is we have to get used to the culture of trying
I
to
understand.
Yeah,
I understand. Let's move on to another person.
Thank you.
It's a lot in my head.
Yeah, I try to keep it concise too, because before I go through this, it's going to be 1 hour. That's how we are used to taking our time. Now let's just cut it. Get to the point. Like a kung fu fighter.
So So the way that the whole thing was arranged, I'm like the
Aestheticals,
last.
hold on now. Let Oga
I
go
didn't have
first.
time to talk.
You
I
get
was
your
here. I
chance.
was
You're next. You're
All right,
next
cool.
after Oga Ike. So yeah, you know, what should we expect from our educational system? What direction should we be going? History, technology, philosophy, or and then if there are people that in population that have issues with it, or lawmakers have issues with it, what can we do to encourage them to make sure we get the best out of our educational system?
I think that one of the greatest problems that we Nigerians have is that we never appreciate what we have. Uh, AY said something about Nigerians go to Turkey to buy furnitures. But I bet you with my life, there are so many professional Nigerians furniture makers do better than the Turkish people. But all because of excitement, right? Because uh, Nigerians, because of is it internet and the rest of them, a lot of young Nigerians made money through uh, is it online programs and stuff like that. So people believe they have money, they can do whatever they want. They can go to Dubai to buy whatever they want. But I tell you, when you move from state to state in Nigeria, you see professionals. Like Bumi was talking about vocational institutions. A lot of people went to vocational institutions in Nigeria who can do great and mighty things in every aspect of life, technology, furniture making, carpentry, mechanic, everything. Or because we felt that, oh, I have money, at least I can import whatever I want. That's the problem. It's the biggest problem. So, in as much as we do not recognize or encourage the ones you have in Nigeria that are capable, like the youth we are talking about, there's so many of them that are skilled in so many things. But because we are so much occupied with, I want my cutting to be the best in my neighborhood. I want my upholstery in my house to be the best. But I tell you, there are Nigerians that can give it to you anyhow you want it. The electric panel now that is being installed everywhere. There are so many vocational, professional Nigerians, men and women that are doing it better than the people that we so-called professionals. So I think that the first thing that we Nigerians to do is to begin to appreciate the ones that we know that they can do it. Because it is when somebody, a Nigerian, comes to your house to do something for you, is an opportunity for you to advertise the skill of that person. Show the skill to your friend, to your neighbor, to somebody else, because that's the only way we can be able to help them to grow, right? And when we talked about education, I think in as much as in some state education is not free, um, is always going to continue to be a problem. As big and as rich and as blessed and endowed Nigeria, a country called Nigeria is, every one of us supposed to have free education up to university level. But at least I agree with Bumi to the level of, WAEC level. At least if every Nigerian can go to secondary school up to WAEC level, I think, I mean, that's good. And the vocational institutions, I remember my days in primary school. We used to go to what we call handcraft center somewhere in Oboro, in Imo State, in Olu local, in Olu area, where we go to learn, handcraft things while in primary school. So I think that if those things can come back, when we can be able to recognize technical school and vocational schools, and that is a lot to help, to increase the knowledge and the awareness of Nigerians. So we can be able to grow, we can be able to fit into any world where we find ourselves. So I
Thank
think
you.
personally that the first thing that we have to do is to continue to recognize and appreciate and encourage and support the ones that we have, because there are a lot of talented Nigerians in every field in Nigeria, but there is no opportunity because we have a system that does not work for anybody. The system is corrupt, and if you don't have connection, you end up driving Okada. Because when you walk into the street in Nigeria, drive the people without driving Okada and transporters. There are many graduates. There are many people learned that are doing those, not because they want to do it, but because that is what the system has failed everybody. So I think that we need to we need to support and encourage our people that we know that can do it. Somebody comes to me to paint my house or do electricity in my house, I should be able to introduce that person to my neighbor, to my family, to my friends, to some other people. That's the only way we can, let everybody fit into the system and grow together in the science and technology of the world that we live today. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. And Eccentricas, regarding what we should be learning, what should we expect from educational system? My experience in Nigeria is that there is a clear division between people that have university education versus the vocational education. The ones that have university education seem to be doing better from my experience over the years. And I don't know what you make of it. And especially when it comes to technology anyway, you tend to see that divide amongst the after you go through a few of them, you start seeing, that one that got university education seems to do better than the ones that haven't got it. They seem to have a cap on whatever they can do, depending on how complicated the task is. So what do you make of the submission so far, and where do you think we should be heading?
Yeah, so I think there's a lot of investment needs to be made on education from the federal government, obviously. I also think we need to restructure our curriculums, right? I think kids should be learning calculus pretty early. I think kids should be introduced to calculus in the junior, what do you call that? JSS1? JSS1? Yeah, JSS1. Kids need to be learning calculus, JSS1, because that's the most important mathematics, right? I think not teaching kids calculus is depriving them of the most important subject in sciences and in mathematics. So calculus should be even taught in primary schools. You know what I mean? They should introduce calculus to them. I believe that primary school students can do calculus. They can do derivative. They can do integral. Those are not complicated, and they are very important because they are dealing with real life situations. They're dealing with changes happening. And that can be applied in a lot of things. A lot of professions, right? That's one. And then the second one would be education should be streamlined towards the need of each region, right? Like if you live in the rural area, right, in the countryside, you shouldn't be learning anthropology. Like, what are you going to use anthropology for, right? They should have courses there that would benefit the locality, right? Like, for instance, in Isuguata local government, they have issues with erosion. They have massive erosion there, right? And it hasn't been dealt with because the government doesn't know how to deal with that. The schools nearby, Obvious State University, all the universities nearby should be learning subjects that could deal with those environmental issues. You know what I mean? Environmental problems, agrarian societies, most of the villages are agrarian, right? They should be learning things that has to do with chemistry of the land, about crops, biology, crop rotations and all that. Those should be part of their curriculum. So curriculum should be streamlined. We shouldn't have like a general curriculum where every school should be teaching this and that.
Yeah, because if you mentioned something that jogged my memory about genetically modified crops, that some of them are experimenting with in Nigeria, and many of those stuff is coming from Monsanto's. So these areas. If we want to go into genetically modified food, we have to be able to manufacture these things ourselves. So it just jogged my mind on what they should be learning in Nigeria if they want to.
So, genetically modified food. Of course, you need knowledge in chemistry, biology, and of course, physics. So emphasis should be placed on those subjects, right? And engineering as well. And of course, in the humanities, and kids need to learn about Nigerian history. They need to learn about the history and our forefathers, like Nnamdi Zeke, whatever his name is. I forgot. Zeke.
Nnamdi Azikiwe. How dare you ruin his name, eh? All these fake Igbo people. I don't understand. You're supposed to be from the southeast, eh? How can you do this?
No, dude, I'm trying to hurry up. I don't do it all the time, right? And I will, you know what I'm saying? And those in the north, we got founding fathers, kids need to learn about so they can be proud of themselves instead of learning about Plato and all these guys, learning Eurocentric form of education and the history. Anyway, that's the contribution. I don't want to take all the time. Pass the mic.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah. Richard, thank you for that contribution. I appreciate it. Richard Okpara, thank you for joining us. So regarding the educational system, what we see in Nigeria today is not giving us what we want. Some people will argue that it's the government that is causing it. But I see our professors, our professors like to go on strike. Like they are making sense. These will go on strike for 9 months and they want salary on top of it. What is wrong happening? Where do you think we should, what do you think we should be expecting from our educational system? Please go ahead.
I think we need to start from all over again. The Nigerian school system is outdated. It's just what Germans call kaput, is total finished. I mean, it's not existing. Nigerian school system is not working. From primary school to secondary school to university. I am not a university graduate. You understand what I'm saying? But the little education I had then in Nigeria, that's what is keeping me today. But go back to Nigeria today and see how education has been, bastardized. Primary school, secondary school, they are no longer secondary school, they are no longer primary school, they are just kind of kindergarten. Look at what we call, schools in Nigeria. In Germany, you cannot even push your cows into those schools. The schools we have in Nigeria, the premises, the buildings you can never push a German dog into those schools as we speak. So we have to start from ground zero. We have to, make sure that our children get good primary education, good sound secondary education, and then that child should decide whether he wants to go to university or go to vocational vocational education. Like where I live here in Germany, I've been here for 34 years. Germans don't believe much on university education. And then ask yourself, why are they so good in technology? Because the children are from primary school to secondary school are taught good mathematics and other science subject. So when they go to secondary school, they either continue to university or they go to what is called Ausbildung, vocational education schools. And when they finish, it's about 3 years program. When they finish, some of them continue to university level. Some of them go to factories like VW, that's Volkswagen, Mercedes, other places. They go and get more experience, and then start work and make their money and live like a human being. But in Nigeria, it's otherwise. Every Nigerian parents want their children to go to university, even though if the child is not maybe well educated or not, very clever to go to university, because everybody must not go to university. You have to look at that children. Is she or he capable of going to university before pushing him or her to university? So Nigeria education, I think my own submission is that we have to do it this way, like German system, whereby give that child a very good primary, secondary education, and let that child decide what he wants to do with his life.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
then finally,
sorry, we don't have a lot of time,
okay,
so that we can listen. I'm sorry about that. So we have to be getting good at doing this thing more. So that's why I'm doing it. I know that we are going to have another one. Eh?
Can't you cancel your date for today? She's
I don't know why. All these people. See, I think it's in a way we need to try to upgrade the way we do this thing, because I know I've seen conversation people have for 1 hour, and although we have more guests here, so it's different. So maybe if we do it today, we don't get enough views. That in terms of people expressing their opinions, then we'll add more time on top of it, because we have more people. Let's face it, PS Moga doesn't have 9 people on the panel wanting to give their opinion, so we'll adjust accordingly, I guess. Jonaba, welcome. Because I want to talk about another thing too, for the next stream. Because after this one ends, we want to be breaking it up so that we'll talk about other topics. So regarding our educational system, Jonaba, all these strikes, is it not good? It's not, because the question is about obstacles too, of why our education system is at the abyss as it is right now. Part of it is the striking culture, where they go on strike, and after they go on strike for sometime almost a year, they still expect to get paid, and often they get paid. Why is it not going to repeat itself? So what do you expect from our educational system? Please try to keep it concise so everybody can have their say.
All right. Thank you, fathers, for having me again. I think Nigeria, we need to have a good start. And I say a good start, have a quality education system, start from elementary school and on, and also to appreciate the other side of education, like vocational training, and also the apprenticeship that are common in the East. It's all about making society work and individual develop themselves in the area where they are good at, and have a healthy society where everybody have something to do. And there are all kinds of education that we as a people or as a human being wired to able to stand the challenges. But people do better in the area they choose to do. So I'm of the occasion where I grew up with a lot of Igbo people in the north, that what they do is that apprenticeship trading. After that, they settle them and they move on. And is, of course, education is good in terms of Western education, like we may say. But then the government have a responsibility for setting a standard. Professor in Nigeria, it's only very few people that earn it in their way of life. They may earn it in the terms of paperwork. The people ringing our election, turning people. Why is it the same professor that they cannot even hold their line to make it like it's a way of life that people should have integrity with it. So education is not one thing, and I hope we all see that Nigeria can excel anywhere in the world, but in Nigeria they cannot make it. Why? It's because of the foundation and also the way we put things in priority. Like the brother said from Germany, that the education they learn 3 years and then they become what they want to be. And I think they should reduce the year with the new way of life. I think staying in university or in college for 4 or 5 years, and after that you're not even going to get a job for the next 10 years is not, it doesn't make any sense. Now education system should reduce the year. It's more of giving people quality education instead of taking their money over the years and they'll come out and stay with no job. They should reduce it. What you used to look for dictionary before, Google can tell you in a minute. So what is the point of staying in school for so many years where you can get what you used to get and comprise it and offer the people what they need, and just being a quality, not about lengthening time in school. So that's what I think.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And Paul E, thank you for joining us. So what do you make of the education system? What should we expect from the education system in Nigeria, and how do you think we can implement it?
Well, yeah, hello everybody again. I personally, everybody has pretty much said everything I've been thinking about, but I think we should come to an understanding that not everybody is good with university studies. So that's why vocation should be one key part. The Igbo apprenticeship, I think it should be expanded more to other parts of the country. That's one. And then again, we also need to understand that all of this we're talking about, we're looking as if Nigeria is like the West. It's not. So we need to educate our people as to what their rights are politically. We need to understand what they should be asking of their government, so that they at least they're bringing in the right people, right representatives for them. So that education is very important. They are politically aware of what their leaders should be doing for them in order to change their lives in whatever way you think. And then it's important for us to start having critical thinking. I think it should be part of the way we learn. I think a lot of Nigerians, we do learn, but it's all book knowledge. It's you regurgitate exactly what you've been taught in school, rather than taking the information and using that information to do to at least argue cases or argue an issue. You should be able to. I don't know if I've been able to express myself, but that's what I believe. That critical thinking is very important for us, and I think I just leave it there.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Really do. Revolution. So, what do you make of the Nigerian education system? Where do you think we should be traveling? Should we increase technology, history? You know, what do you think?
Yeah. Good evening, gentlemen. You see, when we are talking about Nigeria, no matter where we are, whether education system, health system, or whatever, we should first of all ask ourselves, how was it before? Because I saw my brother from Germany talking about how the Germans used to train them in the primary school very well, secondary school very well, then you are left to choose. All this thing was in Nigeria before. All this, what he said, was in Nigeria before. When I was going to primary school in Lagos, every Wednesday there's something they call center. Primary level, we go and learn how to make stools, chairs. They take us to that place. It's like a technical place where they teach us how to make ordinary, these chairs we use in the kitchen. That's us at that age. Then you go to those days, you come to secondary school, you see people going to technical schools and all these things. Where are those things today? The reason is why we are talking about revolution in that country. So that the right people will come back to power. You understand me? So that things will continue to go normal. Nigeria education is not falling. It's only falling for the poor people. The rich guys, they have managed to provide their own private schools where their children go. So people telling me that Nigeria education is falling. It's only falling for the poor, those who don't have. The big boys, they have provided their own private school where they can pay for it. The church leaders have provided, instead of them to talk about the hunger in Nigeria, they are building universities for the politicians, the thieves, to come to the church universities. So telling me that which way forward? The way forward is to treat the disease, not the symptoms. You understand me? Our educational system is still good, but it's not good for the poor anymore. You understand me? What we should be talking in that country is to remove these bad people who came and took over Nigeria and bring in the good people who are qualified to rule that country. And you will see the magic we are trying to say it's only in Germany, it's only in this. All these things were in Nigeria before the criminals came and took over that country. So let me leave it like that, Thank you.
Yeah, you were not hearing me. Thank you. I appreciate your contribution. And Tony, thank you for joining us. So what do you make of the Nigerian education system from what you can see so far? What direction should we go?
Greetings, everybody. I've been listening, and I just want to make a very, very quick contribution, and then I would leave. I think listening to the discussion, it seems that the focus is mainly on formal education. Apart from Paul E. and John Haber, who touched briefly on other aspects of education, we also have informal education and non-formal education. And I think for Nigeria today, we need all those forms of education. Informal education, Paul and John Abba, tried to explain. They use the apprenticeship system that you have in Igbo land. People don't necessarily need to go to school. They are apprenticed to people, someone, and they learn the trade, and after that, they learn the rudiments of commerce, a particular commerce, and then at the end of the day, they set them up, and a lot of people have done well, using that. But I think the problem really here is that, our country, and I think it's in the constitution, recognizes that everybody is entitled to free primary education, and that's not been enforced. And I want to submit that every Nigerian should at least be able to, go attain that free education, which is in the constitution. The other thing is, any education that does not empower anybody is useless. So if you go to the university and you come out and you don't learn any skill, that's why you see people now, they have to retrain, and they have to, you can imagine someone after spending so many years in the university or polytechnic or monotechnic, he comes out and he's still looking for a job, because that was how the system was built. You want to go to university and then go to the civil service and get a flat and they give you a car and so on and so forth. That has changed. And so the kind of education that is relevant to our system is one that will give you a skill, so that you can become, an entrepreneur. You can create, because small scale industries, small scale companies are supposed to be the engine of every society. So we need that, and we have to create multiplicities of that, so that people can be creative and they can empower themselves, create jobs that are looking for the government to create jobs. And then the other thing is that there's also not much awareness amongst the people as to the potential they can have, and the innate capabilities that people have, sometimes until they are challenged. So I think that all those areas we are failing. Has the government done a very good job? No. But have we also, as individuals, done some good jobs? No. So we need an awareness to let people know that they can do things by themselves, and those of them that don't have skills, should learn and acquire skills, to help themselves, and not just look at the government. Let me just stop.
Wow, that is really good. You see, when we say we cannot do it, we can clearly do it. We are very, very concerned with where we want to be. We did it on time. Yeah, I agree with everybody. I think we all know that something needs to be done, and I appreciate the contribution from everybody. If I was to add my own, I would say we have to make technology essential for everybody. You study to the highest level that you can attain it up to, because we are behind in the world, and you push it in such a way that everybody has to be part of the technological education, because every other subject you are studying is going to be eaten up by technology anyway. If you're studying accounting, bye-bye. If you're studying teaching, even that one too is going. Most things people study these days is going to fall to technology. And hence why, if I am to recommend, I would say, and we need to leapfrog too, in terms of, because other people are ahead of us. There's no use learning things that technology is going to replace. So headlong, everybody 100%, just like we learn English as essential subject, you have to learn technology, and also learn it in a way that you can actually make things with it, not just learn it in theory, stuff like that. So the vocational aspect comes in, the this in the academic aspect is also there. And if I'm to add other areas, I would say philosophy. We have to learn about abstract stuff. We have to question everything, and we have to learn how to learn, because that's another skill set that has not been changed that much since the Enlightenment. Part of the Enlightenment was to learn how to learn. They, from that process, developed the scientific method. So maybe there is a new way to learn. And we had a discussion with the eccentricals the other day. It could be AI is the one opening that new part of learning, because we may not have the capacity to learn the way an AI can be able to learn. So, but we have to be searching. If we are not looking, we are not going to get there. So technology is the part for me, and it's why we are in the mess we are in, because we didn't do enough of it. But that said, that is my opinion. I think we can round up with a few finishing thoughts. I think Seneca, I want to say something, and AI can say what you want to say. And
So
look at this AI. You know, AI, I don't understand you.
Father, I hear you, man. Today, this is hot,
it
man. You gotta
took
go.
all the time, man.
No. There's another one coming up. Oh, there's another one coming up. So
Oh, really?
yeah, there's another one coming up. I want to break them up so that people can be able to watch one topic
Yeah,
and finish it, then
yeah.
go to another topic. 1 hour. That would be good.
Yeah,
Go
so
ahead.
for it's a good format, right? But the problem is when you end the program and start a new one, most of the audience they might not even want to watch the next one because
Yeah,
they
I agree with that. I agree with that. But there is the returning audience, the ones that want to watch it later. If the
yeah,
longer you have the video, the less they are likely to engage with it. You see what I mean? So that is
so
part of the thinking.
yeah, another thing that I forgot to mention is the parents. The parents need to get involved in education. I think it's very important, right? Because as you can see, like when if you live in the West, most of the times, people credit like the Asians of being the smartest, like in the rest of America. But if you look at their tradition and family tradition when it comes to education, the parents actually get involved in education. Like they stress education, and I think we have the same value in Nigeria, right? Educate, that's why we want our kids to go to university, and people take pride over that. That's actually a good thing. There's nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? Because we are placing value on something that really matters instead of like sorry to say that, right? Like in Africa, this is something that African Americans needs to pick up from Africans and Asians, right? They need to put more emphasis on education rather than being anti-education, right? Because if you go online, you see a lot of anti-education rhetorics from people that are content creators who are unfortunately Black people, right? That needs to change. You know what I mean? Like we need to make education cool again. Make America great again. We need to make education, being smart great again. You know what I mean? And the parents
Yeah.
have a lot of roles to play on that. You know what I'm saying? Because when the parents are involved, the kids actually want to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's a very important point. Yeah.
I agree. AY, you want to say something?
I think I'm good. Let other people speak until the next show.
Okay.
Just a quick one. When
Yeah, go ahead.
when forefathers is saying we learn IT, do you have infrastructures for that?
Infrastructure. I think you can scale up. Yeah, we do have a lot of computer. All you need is computer and internet by and large most of the time.
Yeah, but the
And
bandwidth, the data, and all of that, you don't have enough. So everybody, when you say everybody, there has to be a select few, and they don't even know where to work. And when they get the certifications, where are they going to work?
Oh no, I think you can create your own ecosystem that you have to create the ecosystem that supports the technology that they are learning. Like if you are learning how to like make DC motors, you have to have like a Nigeria copper. We have copper, manufacturing in Nigeria already. You have to have steel, and then people start going to those areas, start making things that we can sell.
But that means that the government have to come into play. If the government don't come into play, that skill set means you're going to be competing with every other person in the world. You're not just
we have to compete. We don't have a choice.
That's why we need to. It's more something the government needs to force into place. If the government are not ready to do it, then you can't force people to go into something that at the end of the day they can't use it for anything. There are so many graduates in Nigeria; they don't have anything to do.
I agree with you. I agree with you on that. Most of the education suggestion we made here requires the government to kind of nudge it. Otherwise, it's not going to go anywhere. So
if I'm being honest with you,
it's a societal change.
If I'm being honest with you, it's only in Nigeria the Nigeria we speak of today. It's only apprenticeship and vocational jobs that can give you anything. Every other thing, we have too many graduates. Too many graduates that are not working. I mean, exceptional graduates.
Yes, I agree.
They don't have anywhere to go to.
I agree with
doing Bolt or they are doing Uber. Come on.
Do you know what I say? Do you know what I say? Better to have it. Try to understand where I'm coming from. Better to have it. I have the problem of not giving them a job than not to have it at all.
But the motivation to do the learning there has to be some compensation for it. can't go and learn something, then you don't know where the
But
Nigeria
there's no
that
competition for what they are learning now. That's my point. You better have it for, because what if you have it, one, if you can't have the workers in Nigeria work, they will
they
take them
change
from
every day.
overseas. They will take them, they will take them from
constantly
overseas.
changing. IT is constantly changing. So if you do it today and you don't have the ecosystem to use it, in another 1 year, you have to re-educate yourself.
That's the whole idea. By training them, they will already know how to do all those things. By default, what they should be doing. And with AI now, you can scale up education. You don't have to employ that many teachers even. And with the ability to do remote,
you can't take every teacher from anywhere. Forget it.
look at it. Look at that. You are that koala. You think this is how it's going to be?
You cannot take away teachers.
You know that koala is very slow.
No. Seriously, go to the West. The way they are looking for teachers in the West, the way they are looking for teachers, even with the whole AI and IT.
Are you sure it's healthcare that they're actually looking for? Teachers?
No. Teachers. I promise you, teachers.
I'm in the UK, but it's healthcare. They tend to be hotter because it doesn't need a lot of education. Teachers are being replaced. There's a method now that they developed using AI to teach students, and even when you have autism, because the AI is expert and has a lot of knowledge, is able to tweak itself to suit that student based on what the student is capable of doing. So, and that's the kind of technology we can scale up. Some of all these are based on VR technology. You see what I mean? So, yeah, Richard, please go ahead. Richard.
Yeah, we didn't discuss about the teachers, because also the teachers matters also, because when you go to Nigeria, when you visit primary, secondary school, and you discuss with the teachers, you get marveled. How did they get here? How did they become teachers? And let me say it again. Primary and secondary school is the basic education anyone should have, and it must be standard. But as long as we don't have standard teachers, mostly in private schools now, because if you go to Nigeria now, the training is something is private schools. Go and see the teachers that are teaching our children. They are zero. They have nothing.
I think it's a problem of value, right? I think the United States of America went through that whole phase too in the 1800s because they didn't place value in education, right?
Exactly.
We need to, like, teachers. People don't respect teachers, right? That, like, the teaching job is not a respected position.
I think the teaching job is fading too. It's gonna pass. Technology is gonna whip.
No. Even if forefathers, let me tell you, here in Germany, forefathers, let me tell you, here in Germany, teachers are more respected. They even earn more money than even engineers. Here in Germany, as we speak, my state is like the biggest state in Germany. It's called North Rhine-Westphalia. We lack almost 7,000 teachers because the old ones are, they're getting older, they're retiring. So the new ones are not making it up. The standard teaching profession in Germany is one of the best. If you can go through, I mean, I'm not talking about lecturer. I'm not talking about secondary. I'm talking about primary school teachers. They are so needed and they're well paid. But are you going to pass it? Because it's a very rigorous, the standard is too high. And that is why
they are not busy accusing the men of pedophilia and all kinds of touchy and all the rest.
No.
Most of the men are running away from the profession. The women are not there. So
Nigeria can actually get teachers from volunteers, right? People that are not trained teachers can actually volunteer to teach, certain skills. You know what I mean? That could also be a way to subsidize.
AI can outperform a doctor now. There are AIs in diagnosis system. Diagnostic.
But somebody has to teach. Somebody has to teach somebody to learn that.
I agree with you, but the teacher that we used to know before, it's not going to be the same in the next 10 years, especially in the West. Most of it will have been transformed.
You know that internet penetration is still a problem here. So if you overemphasize AI. So are you?
With Starlink in the sky, you know, Starlink is there. No, because it's there right now. That's why I'm saying Starlink is already there. It's a matter of if another country decides to do it. I don't see why Nigeria cannot do it. How much does it cost to build a spaceport? $3 billion.
In a village,
more than that every year.
In a village in Kauran Namoda, you are talking about AI. What do they know about AI?
This kind of talk, that's what will get us in trouble.
I think it's still about the ecosystem. The ecosystem is not yet ripe for it. We don't have it. It's not in place.
You create it. No, you see, my point is that you have to have aspirations.
It's either one of two things. It's either the government do it or you bring foreign direct investment. And if you can't bring any of those, what's the point?
Both can do it.
You don't have the environment to bring in any FDIs in Nigeria as we speak, because of the
now. Yes,
nobody's going to come in to invest in Nigeria the way it is. Nobody, because of the uncertainty, and your government, we have to be able to push them to do what they're supposed to do. If our group become all this talk we're still talking as if we're in the West. Nigeria is in the West. None of our institutions, we don't have the infrastructure, we don't have the people, we don't nothing.
That is why informal education is very, very important, because that you don't need some of all these things that we're talking. If you go to the village, you're talking above their heads. If they want to farm, they have basic implements that they can use to farm. They may not embark on mechanized farming, but basically they have basic implements that they can use and provide food for themselves.
My concern is that we don't respond based on what we are only experiencing. We respond based on what is happening out there. If, let's say, there is a storm coming in your house, or there's going to be rain, you prepare for it, don't you? We don't always, because we have to be careful about thinking about it from the only point of view of only Nigerians. You have to look at it that what we are facing out there, you have to respond. And in a way, that is the way the Russians and the Chinese responded to their challenge, because they saw what is going to happen if they don't respond. It's not. They didn't feel comfortable doing it. It was very uncomfortable for them.
The government.
I'm talking about the government. All the stuff we are talking about, the government needs to.
So when you're talking about IT and the government is not doing anything, how does it want to work?
That's my point.
Do we have government? Do we have government?
And that's why we need to. And that's why
we do. It's just that they are not there to help us, and we have to have the mindset first. I think the lady said it last Sunday that we need our nation needs rebuilding, because we ourselves need rebuilding. We have to have the right mindset to make the right demands of what we want from our society. If we just think that every farmer will go to a farm and they farm for the next 15 years, that's not going to work.
Forefathers.
So when it comes to farming, right? You don't have to mechanize. You don't have to have a mechanized farming to actually have formal education on how to manage your land. You know what I mean? How to properly rotate crops to have more yield, right? So those knowledge can actually be formalized, even in the villages, like you said. They can formalize.
You have people who are able to who understand farming very well.
Yeah, but
you have to be technologically advanced in farming.
Education, right? You can take those knowledges from them and formalize it, maybe put it in a text or something, so you can start along.
You know what they are doing here now? They have what they call vertical farming, and this vertical farming, some of them, they don't even have to do it outdoors. They can do it indoors, like whole underground. They can be underground and they will survive just fine.
Forefathers,
we have not even started thinking at that level.
Dr. David showed a video of onions and potatoes a few hours ago that somebody was complaining about fertilizer, that they import it into Nigeria and all of that. The exchange rate is making it very expensive. That's one. So it's not everything. See, all this is our talk. We're still using the mentality that Nigeria is functioning like a normal country.
Oh, no. That's not what we are doing. No. We are stating from the point of view that everybody here have to have the mindset of what we want. Because if you don't know that, you find it hard to make demands or change things on the ground. So that when you are standing in front of Tinubu tomorrow, tell him, don't give me that nonsense about funny Agbado stuff. This is exactly what we want. We are clear in our mind what we want to see.
Because what I'm laughing is because of your IT stuff, and when I think about a lot of Nigerians,
not just IT, technology in terms of
technology. Yeah, I'm talking about
engineering or everything, science, all of them.
Yeah, about technology. A lot of us, when we moved from Nigeria to wherever we've come to, the IT, maybe after 1 year or 2 years, you'd already pick up one certification. So Nigerians are smart enough to do it.
Yeah,
so we're talking about AI and IT and all of that. I know a lot of Nigerians who have moved into that from being engineers to being lawyers, have moved into either business analysis, moved into cloud engineering.
Yeah,
it's not going to be difficult. Just create the ecosystems. Once Nigeria see where there's money to be made,
they will go there.
And
that's why I recommend it.
They will flood that place.
There's no other part for us. Science and technology is the only part we have. We have no choice. Even this is not even a request; it's a demand. If you don't do it, you are in trouble. And that is something we need to get through our minds, that this is not optional. It's not even optional. We have to.
I agree with you, but the problem is
that's like the survival of the
ecosystem.
It's the survival of the fittest. If we don't do it, we are in trouble. We are done for.
It's not the people's fault.
I'm not blaming the people. I'm saying we have to leave the government. You are the government now. Tomorrow, who knows? You might end up there with that koala behind you. I don't know how that koala. You might end up there, and then you don't say the people when you are the one that is sitting there. You don't have to. Tinubu sometimes blames the people. We have to realize that we have the agency to be able to change these things. And if you have it tomorrow, if you are talking to your friend, you will tell your friend. If anybody, you have to have the right mindset to move forward. Just like many Nigerians go overseas and start discouraging other people from coming to Nigeria. That mindset is an important mindset. If we have to start learning to change our own mindset within ourselves.
And
I do it before.
And what should we do? Or what?
I want you to see it from the point of view that you have a vision for the country that is better. Let's say you wanted that scientific technological revolution yourself. You want to see that every chance you get to promote it, every chance you get to do anything to move it forward, you are going to take it, because that's what you are there for. You see what I mean? You are going to take it. That's what it should be. Not to complain about the government alone.
I mean, very few of us cannot do this. The government is the ultimate government. We have to have a genuine government, Forefathers, you, me, everybody who are here, we can't do these things. We are talking, we are enlightening our people, which is very good. But ask yourself now in Lagos, how many people are watching this thing? How many people have electricity to watch this thing? How many people can afford data to watch this 3-4 hours? How many of them in Lagos, in Abuja, in Owerri? There's a lot of look. Let me tell you, Nigeria has not started discussing its problem. What we are doing here is fantastic, but let me tell you, those people we have there, those people who are our rulers, they don't care. They don't care what we are talking about. And that's very unfortunate. It's very unfortunate.
Well, make them care. You see, when the people's mind change, the leaders have to fulfill their needs. Otherwise, they will fail too. So the people have to change. If we start changing what we want and know what we want, chances are that the leaders sooner or later will change. Because if they don't give us what we want, we're going to remove them. I always give this example all the time. Can a leader tell Southerners not to be Christian? Which leader would tell Southerners, oh, you are not allowed to be Christians? No, they will not agree, because they have been clued in. They believe that is important for them. If we start believing that technology is mandatory, we have to, otherwise we are going to be done for. The leaders sooner or later, they don't have a choice. They have to do it. If they don't do it, we'll kick them out. That's how it's going to be. It's a mind change. It's a mindset thing.
How do we kick them out?
By force. They will not go to their house. They will not rest. People will be complaining constantly. Their side chick will be complaining. Everybody will be complaining. They will have to change.
until we get to the point where we all think.
Nigerians are very poor. Nigerians are very poor to remove government. Nigerians are very poor.
Oh, they're not that poor.
I'm telling you,
they don't know. Many of them don't know better. They are not that poor. They can remove government if they want to.
What I'm saying, I'm not talking about stomach. I'm not talking about hunger. I'm talking about poverty in everything. How can you remove government that you don't even know how they exist? For example, democracy in Nigeria. Let's discuss this democracy in Nigeria.
Hold on. Sorry. Let's go to the next live stream. Okay. So I'm going to share the link on the backstage so that we can go there. Thank you, gentlemen. I really appreciate you guys. And what is going to happen is that they are going to come, viewers are going to come, be able to watch this topic because it's just one topic. And everybody had their views on it. And it got quite interesting. And I want to see, because if the link is backstage now, if the people hear our discussion on this, they are more likely to take it on board and encourage others to go and watch. Can you imagine when we used to do when we do 11 hours and somebody tells them go and watch what that guy said in the video? The person will be like, 11 hours, how am I supposed to view all this? So it's quite an issue. So I'm trying to do it in such a way that our message actually gets out there. More people actually get to hear you guys talk. Because some of this suggestion that is being made here is quite important to a lot of people in Nigeria, especially Nigerians who has data to be watching the 12 hours video. By the time they watch the 12 hours video, they're going to be paying 5,000 naira again, and so they have to think twice about it. So that is why it's good to reduce the size.
Well, Father, let me say one more thing, right?
Yeah.
So I get the idea of being intransigent about any topic, right? But people like Isaac Newton, right? Most of the ideas that they came up with, they could not actually utilize it in their time, and it was those ideas were utilized 50 years later, right, to create technologies. So what we are talking about might not be applicable right now, but it could do something in the future. You know what I mean? That's why we need to talk about this. Yeah. It's easier to say, hey, there's no government, this is not going to work, therefore just leave it alone. Why are we even on the live stream? We should just back out. And that's a defeatist mentality, right? We should iron these things out. You know what I'm saying? Come up with solutions and inspire ourselves. Perhaps we might have solutions that we could do, little things that could, we can plant. We are planting seed of change. That could be what we are doing. We never know.
I agree with you. I think we are already doing it, and more will be done. And I think you can see that. To be fair, in my mind, I believe that most of the people that come from the diaspora, including on other channels, that is interesting. Actually, the way we think about these things is changing, and I don't think it's only us. It's happening continentally too. Look at how they are kicking many foreigners out of the countries next to us.
I promise you. Let the government create the ecosystem today for Nigeria. You will be shocked the number of Nigerians with the skill sets that we're talking about here. It's not the problem, not skill sets. It's not about learning. The problem is the ecosystem is not there.
I agree. I agree with you.
Why is it that every time we're always talking about exceptional Nigerians everywhere in the world?
That's the next topic we are going to be discussing. Thank you. Let's go to the next one. The link is backstage. Just join it. The live stream is going to be on in a moment. All right, let's go.
Chukuna malugo yo biadiocha Agaranya chogo kowe bili Agaranya chogo kowe rienio Owe chuku bezie chuku Nuche chukwa busigi fegemeo Nuche chukwa busia ifegemelo